In this video, we continue our discussion of the 5 criteria that a zoning hearing board must consider when deciding whether to grant or to deny a variance. We will focus here on Criterion 3, and we'll continue to use as our example the ordinances from the town of Bloomsburg in Pennsylvania, where Criterion 3 is located in Section 27-1003.c.3. We know from the previous 2 videos what a landowner must do in order to meet Criteria 1 and 2. Criterion 3 says that a landowner must show that such unnecessary hardship has not been created by the appellant. In this case, the appellant is the landowner. And so a landowner must show that they are not the cause or the origin of the hardship that they are suffering. So, what is the hardship? Presumably, it's not being able to proceed with the proposed project. So in our video about Criterion 1, the Johnsons could not build the addition to the house. In the video about Criterion 2, the Perez's could not rebuild the house previously destroyed by fire. In both cases, it was the irregular dimensions that prevented the property from conforming to the ordinance. In neither case was the landowner the origin of the hardship. Instead, the origin of the hardship was the unique and irregular dimensions of the property. Okay, so why doesn't the hardship originate in the landowners wanting to do the proposed project? After all, if the landowner didn't want to do the project, then they would be suffering no hardship. Isn't that right? And the answer to that is surprisingly no. Technically speaking, the hardship would be there even if the landowner never proposed the project. To meet Criterion 3, the landowner must show that the hardship originates in the governing bodies imposing a very strict regulatory scheme on properties that cannot ever meet those regulations. And the remedy to this, as we know, is the governing body through the zoning office assigning non-conforming status to these properties. And that's all well and good until the landowner wishes to either modify or to improve the property, where those irregularities will then creep in and prevent the landowner from being able to do the proposed project. And that is an unintended hardship imposed on a landowner when the governing body enacted the zoning plan. So can we make sense of a landowner suffering hardship of which they are unaware? Imagine that you're having your curtains cleaned and you make sure to do any undressing in the back room. As you're undressing, you look out the window and you see something in the tree there. It's a man. He's peeping in on you. And so you get on your phone and you call the police and they show up. And you discover that it's Bob from next door and that he's been doing this for years. You just caught him because the curtains weren't there, that's all. Now, I think we would all agree that even though you were unaware of his peeping, you were nevertheless harmed that entire time. As strange as it may sound, you don't have to be aware of the harm in order to suffer harm. In zoning, the hardship suffered by a landowner may be unknown to the landowner. The landowner, in fact, may become aware of the hardship only after setting out to improve the property. But the point is, the landowner's wanting to improve the property is not the origin of the hardship. The hardship was already there. We will revisit these criteria, including Criterion 3, as this series unfolds. And so this won't be the last time we discuss Criterion 3.